Hey, it's Jeff Garber, mortgage expert, and in this video, apologies, it is going to be a little bit longer, but I want to share with you a little bit about what's going on with cash out refinances to consolidate debt. Now, in a video I made a few months back, I was telling you how it might make sense to go from a low rate of, let's say, 3% or in the twos or in the mid threes to a rate in the six or sevens to consolidate debt, and that might make sense. What we're seeing, though, is there is an increase in these types of refinances, which are called debt consolidation cash out refinances. In fact, to the tune of at least 1.5 million of them that have occurred this year so far. Now, in this video, I want to share with you that on the surface, it actually might appear to make sense to do, but when you dig through the numbers, in some cases, it does not make sense to do. So what I want to share with you is how to not become a victim of the many people just trying to sell monthly payment savings that actually don't make sense. And I want to use a live case study. I had a past client give me a call, had a couple questions about the equity in his house and possibly consolidating some debt. And he got an offer from another lender. And fortunately, he called me and he was all excited. He said, Jeff, I could save $500 a month. What do you think? And I said, well, let's take a look at it. I need to take a look at it. Let's analyze it and make sure that this is going to be something that's of benefit to you to consolidate debt and save $500 a month. And I could have easily said, hey, no problem. I can match this. Yeah, you're going to save $500 a month, but I'll do it. Let's go. But what I did was I looked this over and I came to the conclusion that this particular scenario would not make sense. And I don't want to see anybody become a victim of doing a refinance when it really doesn't make sense, because people are starving in this industry and they will try to sell you anything to close a loan. And the easiest thing to sell right now is I can save you $500 a month. How's that sound? And while on the surface that sounds great, let's take a look at this. You might have to watch this video a couple of times just for it to sink in. I realize that I have a lot of experience looking at these numbers and it comes very easy to me, and I'm going to try to go really slow, but you might have to watch it a couple times. So here we go. So what I did first was, I am going to get myself out of the way here, is I plugged in his original refinance loan that I did a couple of years ago. Loan amount of $179 for 30 years at 3.5%. I then put the new loan in. All right, we're going to pay off debt. We're going to give a brand new loan of $240,000 over 30 years, but the interest rate now is 6.75. And again, this is not a quote. This is an example. Okay, so first thing I do is I hit calculate, and I'll scroll all the way down. And knowing that I saved him $500 a month is one thing, but assuming he keeps this loan for 30 years, in his current loan, he's only going to pay $110,000 in interest. All right, if he does nothing with that savings of $500,000, he's going to pay $320,000 of interest. All right, so that's obviously strike one. We're saving $500 a month, but we're going to pay way more in interest than we need to. Now, I know what you're thinking. What if we say, all right, let's add the $500 a month to this new mortgage that I'm giving him? All right, I'm going to do that. So what he's going to do is he's going to pay the same amount that he's paying currently with his total cash flow. In other words, I'm taking the $500 savings, I'm going to throw it back into the mortgage and hit calculate. Now, in this scenario, we can see that he will pay his loan off in 16 years instead of 30, but he's still going to pay $152,000 in interest versus $110 here. So just by saving him $500 a month and having him throw it back into the mortgage, he's going to spend 41 grand more over the time that he's paying, these 16 years, to pay off his loan a little earlier, right? So I didn't like that option. I then tried the other side. I said, you know what? What if we took the $500 and we invested it for 16 years and we got a 9% rate of return of compound interest, all right, annually? Well, that would give him $200,000 or so. All right, assuming he got 9% every year for 16 years, he'd get around $200,000. So in 15 years, if I go back to this amortization, I take out the 500, because we're going to invest it instead. Now, if I look at this, I can go to year 16 and I can see that he still owes 168, right? And he will have paid 227,000 in interest. All right, if he wants to pay his loan off, he'll have 200 grand, right? He only owes 170, so he'll have 30 grand extra, all right? But he still paid 200,000 in interest, 227 in interest there, versus the 110 if he keeps the loan. All right, so I still don't find any good reason to do this. Now, if I break this down further, one of the debts that we were going to pay off is a car loan that had a $586 payment. But guess what? He only has 2 years left on that car loan. Okay, so I can then go back to my cool amortization schedule and I can say, look, why don't you just keep this loan as is at 3.5%, wait 2 years, then take your car payment if you want and throw that into the mortgage. And now look, all right, now he can pay off that loan in 14 years total, and he's only paying $46,000 in interest. Now I realize we have a couple of years here of delay for this to happen, so these numbers will be just a little bit higher. But by analyzing this refinance, I did not feel comfortable having somebody pay off a car that only has 2 years left, and then in 2 years he can get strategic with that car payment. In other words, he could take that 580, he can invest it for 15 years and earn a rate of return on it. He can pay off the other credit cards that I rolled in, okay, that were at a little bit of a higher interest rate. All right. Bottom line here is don't just go with what somebody's telling you that, hey, I can save you $500 a month. It may or may not make sense. So I hope this helped. Again, I didn't mean to get complicated in the numbers, but in summary, not all cash out refinances are created equal. All right. Just because we can save you money doesn't mean in the long term it's the right thing to do. I hope this helps. If you have any questions or so you want me to run a complimentary scenario, we can do that. We use soft credit pulls now, so I can run these with no risk of a credit pull and a credit hit to a client. I'll be able to see all the liabilities. I can plug it in, run an amortization, run it in my debt consolidation tool, and we can see if it legitimately makes sense to do. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for the emotion. All right. And I hope this helps. Have a great day.